national security is at top of list, certainly at Treasury and here in Congress as well. And national security means standing up to Russia, China, Iran. It's not about overly burdening small businesses in my home state of Iowa. So let's get started today. I want to thank Secretary Yellen. My home state has 270,000 small businesses. In fact, it makes up 99% of our businesses in Iowa. And they're facing a tremendous amount of paperwork coming largely from the Treasury, which is why we invited Director Gecki to come out and hear directly from Iowans. And she did a great job, but she also got an earful. She heard and admitted that FinCEN has alerted only 2 million of more than 3.2 million small businesses of their obligations to be able to fill out beneficial ownership. That is an abysmal number, particularly when we have less than 6 months left in your timeline to help be able to execute. So here's my ask today, Madam Secretary. Would you support, our bipartisan Small Business Red Tape Relief Act, which would extend the deadline for small businesses to be able to be compliant with Treasury?
Well, FinCEN has 2.7 million reports so far, and they are engaging in a very extensive outreach and education effort, and it's their judgment that it's not necessary to extend the deadline.
Madam Secretary, I appreciate that. Let me share with you what was delivered directly to Ms. Gecki. The very fact that we have only alerted 2 million over more than 30 million is harmful. If they fail to meet it in the next 6 months, it will be $500 a day to small businesses. We're not going after the bad guys. We're going after small businesses in Iowa. I would ask you, as the Treasury, extend this deadline and work on a bipartisan level with us to make sure that our small businesses are taken care of. I hope you hear me on that.
Well, look, we're not trying to go after small businesses that do the best to meet their responsibilities.
Most of them don't know what their responsibilities are because they've not been informed by FinCEN at this point.
So the CTA penalizes willful violations of the law, and we're not looking to take some sort of gotcha enforcement actions against small businesses.
I certainly hope that's the case, because my folks back home see a $500 fine per day as a pretty not only gotcha, but as a very painful impact. So in that vein of setting deadlines, one of the things I would ask Treasury is, will Treasury be able to meet their November 1st, 2024 rulemaking deadline on 45Z, the Clean Fuel Production Credit?
They're working. This is the successor to the sustainable fuels.
That's correct.
So that's something that Treasury is working on. I can't give you an exact.
I hope you meet your deadline, Madam Secretary, because you've laid out a very strict $500 a day deadline for small businesses in Iowa that work largely in renewable fuels. I hope that Treasury can meet its own deadline that you've laid out of November 1st. I'd like to change briefly now to Iranian illicit oil sales. I think we've all seen the threat in the Middle East, both what it's done for Hamas, Hezbollah, the IRGC. Americans have died. Americans are still in the firing line. Treasury's at the lead for sanctions. Can you tell us today, are there any U.S.-based firms providing insurance to Iran's illicit ghost fleet of oil tanker ships?
I can't speak to particular entities. What I can say is that we are working to crack down.
Let me give you what the New York Times has, Madam Secretary. A list of 27 tankers currently supporting the illicit sale of oil from Iran to some of our worst adversaries. General Michael Kurilla of CENTCOM noted that Iran continues to sell 90% of its oil directly to China and fund a terrorist war in his AOR as a result of this. I have asked 5 times now for Treasury to be able to find a list, both in the classified and unclassified versions, of how we are cracking down on insurance violators here in the United States. Are we going to be able to do anything, or are you going to be able to have an answer for us on the insurance companies here domestically based that are providing insurance to a terrorist regime?
I mean, most of the insurance companies that I'm aware of that do this are outside the United States.
But there are ones here in the United States, you would agree.
But I'm not able to comment on specifics of
I would like a follow-up. Thank you,
investigations
Mr.
that
Chair. I
we are
yield my time.
doing.